The message came at 11:43 p.m. The house was silent, the only sound being the soft ticking of the clock above the fireplace. My hands were still damp from washing the dinner dishes when my phone buzzed on the counter. I glanced at the screen absent-mindedly, expecting another automated reminder about bills or my kids' school updates. But when I saw the sender, my stomach tightened. Mom, and then I read the text. The words didn't register at first. It felt like staring at a foreign language, trying to rearrange the letters into something that made sense. My hands went cold. My chest tightened like someone had wrapped a wire around it and kept twisting. The wedding she was talking about was my younger sister Claire's, the golden child, the one who got everything easily: admiration, opportunities, and most painfully, Mom's unconditional love. I had already ironed my kids' clothes for the ceremony. I had made a cake for the rehearsal dinner because no one else had volunteered. And now, 2 days before the wedding, this text. A laugh escaped my lips, but it wasn't joy. It was the kind of laugh that cracked and shook as tears burned behind your eyes. Awkward, that's what we were now. I walked to the small living room window and stared out into the night. Rain streaked the glass in delicate silver lines. It matched the way my heart felt, blurred, heavy, leaking in quiet ways. Mom, what do you mean? I typed quickly. The kids have been so excited, I don't understand. A few seconds later, the 3 dots appeared, then vanished, then appeared again. Respect. I bit my lip so hard it almost bled. I'd respected a lot over the years. The silence when they forgot to invite me to family dinners, the jokes about me choosing the wrong man, when my marriage fell apart. The quiet way Mom looked through me like I was invisible whenever Claire walked into the room in her perfect dress, perfect hair, perfect smile. I stared at my reflection in the dark window-tired eyes, hair falling out of its messy bun, worry lines that hadn't been there at 25. You and your kids just make things awkward, I whispered aloud. Hearing it out loud made it worse. It sounded like a verdict, not a request. I didn't sleep that night. I lay in bed listening to the rain against the roof while memories came flooding in, like when I'd taken a night shift at the diner just to buy Claire a prom dress because Mom said she couldn't afford it that year. Or the time Claire got engaged and Mom told me I should lose some weight before the wedding because I'd be in the photos too. But this was different. This was a door closing when morning came. My 10-year-old daughter Lily skipped into the kitchen, hair tangled and pajamas half falling off her shoulder. Mommy, she chirped, 2 more days until Aunt Claire's wedding. Her little brother, 6-year-old Sam, followed with a piece of paper he'd drawn, stick figures holding hands under a big cake with flowers. He'd written in crooked letters, "We love you, Aunt C. Where?" And there it was. The knife twisted just a little deeper. Sweetie, I began, forcing my lips into something that wasn't a frown. There might be a change of plans. Her smile faltered. What kind of change? I couldn't answer. My throat tightened. Because how do you explain to your children that their own grandmother thinks their presence would ruin a wedding? That evening, I stood outside Mom's house with a folded umbrella in my hand. The house I grew up in. The porch light flickered faintly, like it couldn't decide if it wanted to welcome me or not. When Mom opened the door, she looked surprised to see me, but not sorry. Her hair was pinned up neatly and she smelled of lavender perfume, the same one she used when she wanted to appear composed. "Why are you here, Emily?" she asked. "Because I needed to hear you say it," I whispered. To my face, she crossed her arms. "Emily, this isn't about you. Claire and Adam want a simple, elegant wedding. No drama, no drama." I almost laughed again. We weren't bringing drama, we were bringing family. Her face hardened. "You know how Claire feels. Things have always been complicated with you. Complicated." I stepped forward. "You mean how I worked 2 jobs while pregnant and you still said I was a burden? Or how I had to beg for an invite to family holidays? Or how I paid for your rent when Dad left and somehow I'm still the problem?" Her lips pressed into a thin line. "You're too sensitive." And just like that, I saw it clearly. It was never about the wedding. It was about me never being enough. "I'll remember this," I said quietly, "and so will my kids." As I walked down those steps, the rain began to fall again. Heavy this time. The sky didn't hold back, and neither did I. Tears and raindrops blurred everything. but for the first time in years, the pain didn't silence me. It burned, and burning things eventually ignite. The wedding day arrived like a cruel joke. Sunlight spilled over the town like gold paint, the kind of soft, warm light people dream of for perfect wedding photos. Birds chirped outside my window. The world was celebrating. But inside my house there was silence. Lily sat cross-legged on the couch, holding the flower crown she was supposed to wear as a junior bridesmaid. She didn't understand everything, but she understood enough. Sam had drawn a new picture, this one of him standing outside a big church alone. "Are we really not going, Mommy?" Lily asked, her voice trembling. I sat on the floor in front of them. "No, sweetheart, we're not invited." "But why?" Sam whispered. "We didn't do anything bad, and that was the cruelest part. We hadn't. I'd spent years swallowing pain so they wouldn't feel it. But that morning, sitting on the hardwood floor with my kids' hearts breaking beside mine, I realized I'd spent too long shrinking myself to make others comfortable." Something snapped. I stood up, walked to my bedroom, and opened the closet. My old navy blue dress, the one I'd worn when I got my first promotion, hung in the corner, not fancy but elegant, strong. I ironed it slowly, methodically, like preparing armor. Lily watched from the doorway. "What are you doing?" I looked at her and smiled. "A real one this time. We're going out. To the wedding." I didn't answer directly. Instead, I tied her hair into a braid, slipped her into her pale yellow dress, and buttoned Sam's little shirt. He giggled when I tucked it in. It reminded me of the last time they laughed freely. We didn't go to the church. Not yet. First, I drove to a park nearby. It was quiet, with an old oak tree that gave the perfect shade. I spread a blanket on the grass, pulled out their favorite snacks, and put on a playlist of their happiest songs. If the world wouldn't let us celebrate with them, we'd celebrate ourselves. Lily twirled in the grass. Sam chased butterflies. Their laughter filled the air like sunlight, soft and pure, and for the first time in weeks my chest didn't feel so tight, but deep down the sting remained. I pulled out my phone. Photos of Claire's wedding were already flooding social media. She looked radiant in her lace gown. Mom was standing beside her, proud and glowing. The same woman who had told me I was too sensitive for feeling hurt. I scrolled, my thumb trembling, and then I saw it. A family group photo, everyone, aunts, cousins, Mom, Claire, even Dad, who had abandoned us years ago, showed up, everyone, except me and my children. It wasn't just a wedding I was excluded from, it was a life I was no longer part of. My chest tightened again, but this time it wasn't with helplessness, it was something hotter, sharper. I was done being the forgotten shadow. "Mommy," Lily asked softly, "are you sad?" I looked at her bright little face, the one that deserved better than silence. "No," I said finally, "I'm done being sad." And in that moment a thought bloomed in my mind, not of revenge but reclamation. Later that afternoon we drove past the venue on our way home. White ribbons fluttered in the breeze. The sound of music and laughter spilled out of the garden like a warm river. I parked across the street and just watched. For years I'd felt like that girl on the outside of the glass. Always close enough to see, never welcome to enter. But this time I didn't cry. I took a deep breath and said to my children, "Look at me." They did. "You don't ever let anyone make you feel like you're too awkward to belong." I said softly, "You are enough, exactly as you are." Sam reached for my hand. Lily leaned her head against my shoulder. We stood like that for a long time, the music echoing in the background, but something inside me had gone quiet. Not numb, just steady, but that calm didn't last long. That night, while putting the kids to bed, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Mom. It was Claire. Easier. I stared at the screen, jaw tightening. All the years I'd covered for her mistakes, stood up for her, loved her despite everything. And she was glad I wasn't there. Something in me solidified that night. If they wanted me gone, they'd get exactly that. But not as the broken, begging daughter they expected, as a woman who no longer needed their approval. 3 months passed, enough time for wedding photos to fade from everyone's timelines, enough time for me to rise from the bruises they left behind. I picked up extra shifts at the accounting firm, completed the certifications I'd been putting off for years, and started sending out applications. I stopped waiting for family support and became my own support system. The world didn't become kinder overnight. Bills still came. Some nights I still cried quietly in the dark, but I kept moving anyway. Then one morning I got the email. I dropped my coffee mug. It shattered, but I didn't care, because I'd done it without them. That night, I took Lily and Sam out for pizza and sparkling lemonade. Their eyes shone as I told them, "Mommy got a big job." Sam grinned. "Does that mean we can get a puppy?" I laughed for real this time, maybe. As the weeks went by, I began to glow in ways I hadn't in years, not from makeup or praise, but from finally choosing myself. I bought a small house closer to the city, decorated it exactly how I liked, and filled it with music, laughter, and messy love. But my story wasn't done with them. One evening, Mom called. I stared at the name flashing on the screen. For a moment, I almost ignored it. Then I answered, "Emily." She began awkwardly. "Claire and Adam are having a baby shower next month. She wants you to come." I let out a slow breath, not anger this time, clarity. "Why now?" I asked. There was a pause. "Because your family." I almost laughed at the irony. Where was family when you told me my kids were awkward, when you erased us from your picture? Perfect wedding, silence. "I'm not coming, Mom," I said gently, "and I won't let Lily or Sam believe they're only welcome when it's convenient." Her voice trembled. "Emily, please, don't make this harder." "I'm not making anything harder," I replied softly. "I'm finally making it real." After I hung up, something inside me settled like calm water. For years, I'd been chasing love that was never going to come freely. Now I wasn't chasing anymore. The baby shower came and went without me. But something else happened a week later. Claire showed up at my office lobby. She looked tired, not the perfect bride anymore, just a woman. "Why didn't you come?" she asked. I leaned back in my chair. "Because I didn't need to." She shifted uncomfortably. "I know what Mom did was wrong. I should have said something." "Yeah," I said quietly. "You should have." She looked down. "I miss you." I studied her face. Once those words would have cracked me open. Now they simply floated in the air. "I spent years missing you, Claire," I said finally, but I realized something. Family isn't about blood. It's about showing up, and you didn't. She didn't argue. She just stood there, small in a way I'd never seen her before. "Goodbye, Claire," I said gently, and this time I walked away, not out of pain but power. Months turned into a year. Lily started playing soccer. Sam won his first art contest. We adopted a little golden retriever they named Sunny. Our home wasn't fancy, but it was ours. And every now and then, when the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the world gold, I thought about that text message that once shattered me. It used to hurt. Now it reminded me of the day I stopped waiting to be chosen. I chose us, and that made all the difference.